Will Hammock and Todd Klein back with you here on GPR. Just a reminder to join us online at GwinnettPrepRally.com, where you get our world-famous message board and video highlights. And you can also keep up with GPR on Twitter and on our Facebook fan page, so be sure to give us a like. Well, Greater Atlanta Christian has gotten off to a 4-0 start under second-year head coach Tim Coakley, and the Spartan offense has been a big reason why, putting up 40 points per game. And they look to keep things rolling against visiting Blessed Trinity. Jeff Batten has more.
GAC and Blessed Trinity facing off in a crucial region matchup. First quarter after a long punt return, GAC quarterback David McTeer keeps it, and the Spartans are up 7-0. Second quarter now, and it's McTeer again, and taking it all the way to the 1-yard line. Jared Chappell checks in at quarterback. He will plunge forward for the score, and it's 14-0 GAC. Still in the second, when the Titans get going, Spencer McMains hits John Davis with a short screen, but Davis stays on his feet, racing down the sideline, and finally taken down by Chris Smith near the 30. Titans now go to the ground as Sam Roberts breaks a few tackles and wins the foot race to the end zone, and Blessed Trinity trails by 7. Later, it's Kyle Scales getting the rock, and he will find a seam taking it all the way in, and GAC now leads 21-7. Blessed Trinity still fighting, this time with the play action, as Spencer McMains floats one over to Sam Roberts, and he takes it all the way to the 12-yard line. McMains goes to the air again, finding Chris Dorr in the end zone, and the Titans cut the GAC lead to 7. Now to the third quarter, it's Kyle Scales finding a hole, and he's gone. Sprinting all the way for 6, and it's 28-14 GAC. Later in the fourth, leading 35-14, the Spartans go to Delano Spencer, who muscles his way to the 1-yard line, setting up another score dive by Jared Chappell, extending GAC's lead by 21. But the Titans aren't giving up yet. McMains drops back and finds Chris Dorr, who takes it into the red zone. Later, it's McMains, again, hooking up with Dorr in the end zone, but the Spartans would conquer the Titans in this one, 42-28.
Well, some big games loom in the distance, Will, but GAC off to a very good start and looking pretty strong.
Yeah, they are doing great, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's really been a find to get Delano Spencer at quarterback, transferring in from Parkview. He's been great for him, and I like the running game. Lavondre Nelson's a very good runner, very strong, very fast runner. They can really put up some offensive numbers. Really need to shore some things up on defense. You don't want to be giving up 28 points to Blessed Trinity. It's going to be tough when you face that Buford offense, giving up those kind of points.
Time now to recap other football action from around the county. It's brought to you by Next Star Communications. We start off with the Archer Tigers.
It's the first regional win of the year for Andy Dyer and his Tigers. It was a great win for him. Beat Burtmar 42-0. Sean Fowler was the guy that carried the load in this one. 17 carries, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just really did what they were supposed to do. They were kind of the veteran team in this one. Burtmar's so very young, and it was great for Archer to get this win. Hopefully gives them some momentum. They've been pretty competitive. Almost beat Brookwood a couple weeks ago.
And then we move over to Peachtree Ridge, Will, a team that's just kind of quietly going about their business.
Yeah, they're coming up on the tougher part of the schedule, so we'll see what they have left in the tank for some of these tougher games. But really playing well right now. Definitely a very good Mountain View team that they beat. We saw what Mountain View could do the week before, beating Mill Creek. So a great effort by Peachtree Ridge. Joe Horn was a playmaker in this one. 4 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown.
And then we have Collin Hill. They had been struggling a little bit, but really got back on track against Duluth. Yeah, they did a good job of not getting in a hole. That had been hurting them, getting behind early in a lot of their games. They did a great job in this one. Forced a lot of turnovers from Duluth. Duluth not having Anthony Stewart at quarterback certainly made this a different game, but great job by the Collin Hill defense. Offensively, they really pounded the ball with Jordan Parker. He had a big game, 129 yards. And moving back, Will, to ask you again about that Peachtree Ridge team. Everybody's kind of got their eyes out for this big Norcross North Gwinnett showdown. Is Peachtree Ridge a team? Does it figure into that mix with those big-time teams?
I think Peachtree Ridge could. There's still a lot of talent over there for the Lions. I mean, this is a team that's not far removed from winning a Region 7 title. And in the past few years, you talk about Norcross, North Gwinnett, and Peachtree Ridge are the 3 teams that have kind of owned that region. So Peachtree Ridge has got to be in the mix. I mean, certainly they are right now, undefeated and hoping to play for that region title.
Time now for Will's World. We put 60 seconds on the clock. We get in the mind of our very own Will Hammock. It's brought to you by Breda Pest Management.
It's been busy with football recruiting lately. Got Brookwood offensive lineman Jackson Bonamia going to Air Force. Air Force kind of has a pipeline to Gwinnett. Also, Collin Hill, Andrew Everett's a very versatile defensive end tight end. He's going to Southern Miss. His teammate Nick England committed recently over the weekend to Florida International. And North Gwinnett linebacker Carl Ryder is committed to Furman. So a lot of kids making their commitments to play at the college level, as always, in Gwinnett. Next thing we want to talk about is the quarterback over at Peachtree Ridge. There's kind of the question mark for the Lions coming into the season. how they were going to do at quarterback. And so far, Billy Best has been great for him. He's played, done everything he's supposed to do, throwing the ball very well. He runs the ball pretty well. He's a quick kid. Could probably play receiver for him if he wasn't playing quarterback, but just a great athlete and a great leader. He's done a great job for Peachtree Ridge. And the last thing I want to talk about is some improvements over at Shiloh. I mean, the record may not reflect it, but the games they're playing, Shiloh has been very competitive under new coach Brian Montgomery. I look forward to this program doing some good things here in the next couple of years. Brian Montgomery is a proven winner where he's been before, and I look for him to continue to do that with the Generals. It's a program that's been needing this and needing kind of a shot in the arm the last few years, and he's really provided it for them.
Like you said, Will, for people that have been watching Gwinnett County football for a long time, Shiloh is a very proud program, used to have a lot of success. Talk about maybe what has been the biggest difference in the improvement that you've seen this year in Shiloh.
I think they're a lot more physical now. You see them really playing a better defense on the defensive side of the ball. They were giving up some big numbers the past couple of years, and they're really not doing that this year. They're really playing well on that side of the ball, and I think it's a toughness factor. And it's a place where you can succeed. South Gwinnett's right down the road. They've done well the past few seasons. I think Parkview's right near them. They're doing well. So geographically, Shiloh should have the athletes to compete, and I think they will here in the next couple of years.
Time now to focus on standout performances. So let's move on to this week's Building Blocks presented by Britt's Home Furnishing. And first up is Jordan Reid from Parkview.
Yeah, the coaches are really high on Jordan. He does a lot of things for him. Obviously, rushed for 39 yards, caught 5 passes for 50 yards, completed a 27-yard pass for a score. I mean, he did a little bit of everything. He's a senior who's really coming around, really worked hard, and they really like what he's done, both in the weight room and on the football field. So he's a guy with a potential at the next level to play some college football, and I think he's going to get that chance.
We move over to Mill Creek. It was a losing effort, but it was a great effort by Jacorey Lewis.
Yeah, he's a guy that's really emerged this year as a go-to back. I mean, everybody talked about Carter Gavinale, the touted sophomore, but I think Jacorey Lewis is a guy who's really stepped up to be the leader of that running back core. He's a junior, 14 carries, 97 yards. A couple of touchdowns. Not the biggest guy in the world, but definitely a powerful runner. He's very hard to bring down, as Norcross found in this game, and just really a guy that's a playmaker for them.
And then a guy who's a playmaker, Will Jason Croom, just a very good-looking athlete. You see here him make a great catch, but also shows that athleticism that has Tennessee licking its chops.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't coach is that height and that weight. I mean, he's 6'5", probably 230 pounds, big physical receiver. Can really go get the ball when he wants to. He's an excellent basketball player, but his future's obviously in football. He gives you things that you can't really find at the next level too often.
Well, those were all great efforts, Will. Who else played well last week that we should mention?
I was at the Brookwood Central game, and there were several standouts. I think Zach Moon, the quarterback at Brookwood, played his best game of the season. Really had a nice passing game and ran that offense well. And, of course, the usual suspects, Nick Tompkins and Jamal Cole, they combined for 354 yards. So really an offensive explosion for the Broncos, 56 points and a 56-14 win.
Time now for Will to look into his crystal ball as we preview some key matchups on the gridiron this week. It's brought to you by Tommy Lee Carpets. We call it Beat the Post. We'll give you a chance to do exactly that. We start off, Will, with a few ball games. We start off Pace Academy at Wesleyan.
Yeah, Wesleyan haven't been playing as well as I'd like to lately, but I really like the Wolves to pull this one out. It's going to be a tough one against Pace, but two evenly matched teams. I still like the Wolves to win it.
Decatur at Buford. I want to ask you who will win, just by how much.
Yeah, I think we got to go with Buford. I'm going to go with 35 to 40 points. Definitely a blowout.
And you talked about Shiloh improving, but they're playing this Grayson team that is really the real deal.
Yeah, Grayson's definitely, I think, the best 5A team for sure in the county, right there with Buford as far as best team, so I look for the Rams to roll.
Got the Battle of the Green Flag, Berkmar versus Parkview. Who wins this one?
I like to say it would be close this year, but I think Parkview's playing great football. Definitely too much of a veteran team for Berkmar to handle, a very young Berkmar team.
And can Central Gwinnett bounce back? They have a tough game at Decula.
They have the offense to do. They can score with anybody, but is that defense going to step up and slow down Decula enough? And I don't think they can. I think the Falcons win. And
then we have the big one, the Battle of Snowville. Can South Gwinnett get off the mat and give Brookwood a run for its money?
It could be a competitive game if South puts it together. Brookwood kind of found their offense last week, played really well. I think the Broncos still get it done this week.
All right, we're out of time, but please join us next week for more highlights and features on Gwinnett Prep Rally every Tuesday through Friday right here on GCPS TV. You can go to GwinnettPrepRally.com for all the scheduling details. For Will Hammock and all of us here at GPR, I'm Todd Klein. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you under the lights.
Grab some wood there, bub.